Y'all, thank you for that interview. Thank you all individually, Amber, Willow, Sayer, for having that conversation that was so necessary. I am proud to say that I know all of you all. And Amber, I'm proud to say that you have already named me TT La to that little human that is growing in your belly. So thank you for being a blueprint and building a human and building a possibility model for youth to come. So thank you all for the work that you do. I'm really excited about talking to you what's about to happen next. Our next performance is coming from a really, I think, special place in our community. So earlier we had the opportunity to interview the amazing Joan Lipkin and talk about the work that she does with St. Louis, like theatrically, but just more than that. So Joan offered a great opportunity at a trans spectrum conference that we had for trans expansive individuals to come and take a storytelling workshop. And I can't express the importance of learning how to tell your story. It's so important to get in contact with yourself, but to also share with people your lived experience. And Joan gave members of our community the opportunity to do that. So this grew into something much larger than we ever expected it to be. And we have two members of our community who are here to share their stories with you. So first, I want to introduce a very good friend of mine, Jamie, who's going to be sharing her story with you. I know you'll love what she has to say and what she's come up with. And just please pay close attention and listen.
All right, the two stories I'm going to share with you are called Clothing and then Girl Dick. Here we go. Screaming, itching, annoying, painful. The men's dress socks feel coarse and invasive, like nails on a chalkboard or lemons in my eye. The necktie choking me constantly like a boa constricting harder and harder. My life lay in a death grip, waiting to be devoured whole. Day in and day out, the male-dominated corporate world demands conformity. It demands life. It demands my life. The dress pants plain and boring. The dress shirts much the same. No character, no beauty, no life. Expressionless, dead, hollow. This is what life as a Wells Fargo data conversion specialist is like? Why? Why did I sign up for this? For most of my employment, I have felt that something is wrong inside of me. Like a piece of a puzzle that just doesn't seem to fit. I mean, am I losing my mind? Never before have I been forced to wear male dress clothes with such frequency. Never before have I been subjected to dress codes that border on the edge of insanity. The feeling of hollowness, aka gender dysphoria, keeps swelling and swelling and swelling. I mean, it's simply gotten to the point that I can't deal. This experience has been one of many that has simply made me feel trapped and unable to breathe. Like a xenomorph, I want desperately to shed my host's skin and violently burst out of the cocoon that is my male body. Testosterone poisoning has determined my future thus far. It has determined how I'm expected to present myself, how I'm expected to move, and how I'm expected to speak. As a child, I wanted to wear short shorts, dresses, and makeup. I wished to transform like Ariel from The Little Mermaid or like Timmy Turner from The Fairly Odd Parents. I wished desperately to wake up as the beautiful woman that I felt like inside. But wishes don't come true. So I guess the point is this. I have never felt right. A foreign form of expression that has constantly left me feeling like nothing but a disappointment. Never tough enough, never masculine enough, too baggy, too plain, too blah. Give me glitter, give me bliss, give me anything but death's kiss, screw male clothing, and screw capitalism. That's the end of that piece. All right, thank you. All right, next one is called Girl Dick. The relationship status with my girl dick is, well, how shall I say it? Complicated. Earlier in my transition, I struggled to find ways of taming the beast or tucking it, if you will. I tried using everything from tube socks to duct tape. until finally I settled upon wearing extra tight Spanx. The testosterone coursing through my veins was of no help, and constant erections left me grimacing in pain as my girl dick screamed for freedom. But alas, just like beauty, gender affirmation is pain. Anyway, as someone who disassociates with having a penis, I can assuredly say that it is weird as fuck. Like, what do we do with this? Rip it off? I mean, can I just swap body parts with some trans guy in a clean hospital and avoid the dank back alley body shop filled with screaming stray cats pleading with Satan to make them into real girls? I guess it's not all that bad. I mean, at least I could pull in the chasers pretty well. You know, because trans women are really just gay men looking for hookups and no meaningful connections whatsoever. If they only knew the truth. That girl dick isn't like guy dick. Not one bit. I mean, sure, it's a phallus-shaped fleshy microphone with a German helmet, but it's not much similar past that. For one, the skin is so incredibly soft, to the point that it practically tears itself most days. And it shrinks. Holy moly, does it shrink. So that thing about me fucking someone with it, yeah, that's not gonna happen. At least, not in my case, anyway. Personally, I just want to forget that it's there and move on with my life. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some trans women like having a girl dick, and that's totally awesome. But for me, I'd rather just have a vagina. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for sharing your words with us and sharing your talent and sharing your craft. Y'all, I just wanted to let you know that we are not very far into our telethon right now. We're already over $6,000. So thank you so much for continuing to donate and continuing to join us today. Next up, we have another amazing community member who I love to death, who always gives me hugs, and who is here to share another story with us that they were able to workshop through with Joan Lipkin. So I would like to introduce you to Kage.
Thank you, Lady Ashley. When I was 23, I met a woman who I swore I was destined to be with. After being together about 4 years, we decided to get married. Part of my reason for getting married was that my nieces and nephews were in foster care system, and I wanted to adopt them. It was important for me to keep my family together. So in March of 2012, we married, and in December, we adopted our kids, and we brought them back to Missouri. Things were fine for about a year, other than me losing my mom about a month after marrying. I was working several jobs, and she was staying at home with the kids, but eventually she decided she wanted to go back to work, and I was okay with that. Then a few things happened that really caused a disruption. She had an affair. We went to counseling, and there was some interference from family members. One of the key factors that I discovered in counseling was my gender identity. I'd been through years of therapy before this, but this time was different. It was the first time I was ever honest with a therapist about my gender identity. And to be honest, it was the first time a therapist had even asked what my pronouns were. When I told my partner my desire to transition, she was not supportive. She said mean things like, if Children's Services were to find out, they'll take our kids. I married a woman, not a man. You'll never find another person that's going to love you if you decide to transition, and you'll always, always look like a freak. Between her negativity and her infidelity and the fact that she was taking her anger out on our children, that led to our split. During all of this, my devotion was steadfast. I never thought in a million years that I would be like my mom, a single parent raising kids, but there I was, killing it. About a year later, I decided I was going to medically transition. I decided that I needed to talk to my kids. It was one of the hardest days that I've had as a parent to come out to my children. Remember, I had adopted them from foster care, and they had spent several years in the system. They had been in my custody since they were 5, 3, and 2, and Amanda was 8, Leo was 6, and Jordan was 5. They were so young and had so much trauma happen to them already, so much so that I was scared to lose their trust. When my spouse left, I knew that our split had rocked their world. In addition, when Amanda was 3, she was sexually molested, and she had a major mistrust of men. Anytime a male adult would look at her or talk to her, she would freeze and shut down. This worried me to transition because we had a loving relationship, and I didn't want that to change. I didn't know the right words to say, and so many fears encompassed my brain. Some of them were, would I traumatize them more? Was I being selfish? Was I taking their mom away, the one mom that they could actually trust? Would they miss out on having me as a mom? And what if they didn't love me anymore? Regardless of the fear, I had to tell them. It was important for them to see me, to understand me. So after months of planning and strategizing every possible scenario that could happen, I decided it was time. My anxiety was so bad, I was visibly shaking and my heart was pounding as I sat on my royal blue couch. Tears flooded my eyes as I called them in for a family meeting. Sit, we need to talk, I said. I began by saying I love you, and no matter what, I will always be there for you. 6 eyes peered up at me, and I could only imagine what their tiny brains were thinking. As I took a deep breath to continue, I said, some people in life, they're born boys, and some are born girls, and as they grow, they're okay with that, and that's cool. Other people, they grow up and they realize that they're different, and that they're not okay with that. By this point, I had tears streaming down my face. I want to tell you that I've grown up my entire life and I've never felt like a girl. I want to tell you that I talked to my doctor and very soon I'll start taking a medicine that's going to help me look like a boy. My voice is going to deepen and I'm going to grow facial hair. And I want to start using he, him pronouns. But the most important thing is I want to be your dad. All 3 of them looked up at me and began to smile. Okay, can we go play now, they said. I asked if they heard what I had said, and they said, yes, ma'am. I said, sir? They smiled at me and said, yes, sir. I shook my head, yes. And I realized that the deepest, darkest secret that I was holding for so many years that I thought was going to be such a big deal wasn't a big deal to them at all. They jumped up, hugged me, and ran to their rooms. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Kage, Jamie, thank you for being vulnerable. Vulnerable is a word I think that sometimes we become afraid of, but I think if there's one thing that I've learned from my involvement with MTUG and the community is that we've created a space to be vulnerable, and from that space, we have all been able to grow together. So thank you so much for sharing your stories, and I truly do hope that for you all who are watching, who would like to learn how to share your story, that you have gained strength and knowledge from the 2 people that you were able to hear today, because there are folks out there who relate to you and who knows that your stories are destined to be heard and deserve to be heard. So start writing them. I have a special guest that I want to bring to talk to me. We have an event coming up. So come on, get on up here. I want you to introduce yourself and talk to us a little bit about what's going to be happening on the 15th. How are you today?
Good. How are you, friend?
I'm good. What's your name?
Max. My name is Max Regano.
Hi, Max.
Hey. So I work for Yelp here in St. Louis, and we've partnered with MTUG this year to, basically throw a big party and, just support y'all and give you all the funds and all the proceeds from it. So there's a handful, 15 or so local food and drink vendors, as well as Golden Gems, the badass feminist shop on Cherokee Street, and then there's a couple of other folks that I feel like I'm forgetting. Maxi Glamour will be there doing face art, but there's just a bunch of local food and drinks, and we're all coming together. We're gonna throw a party. It's at the aquarium, so we're gonna get to check that out before it opens to the public, and then all the proceeds. It's gonna be a $20 donation. You can RSVP on Yelp, the public event page, and all the proceeds will go to MTUG.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Do you mind if I ask you some questions?
Please.
So, if you don't mind me asking, Max, what sparked your passion to work with MTUG and to put on this event basically for us? Yelp is huge, and we don't see many organizations like Yelp stepping in to help the trans expansive community. Yeah,
that's unfortunately the case. I'm a trans person. My pronouns are he, him, and I've recently become aware of the organization. I just came out within the last year, basically, and kind of since then, I've started just learning more about MTUG, more about what MTUG does for St. Louis, and being in the position that I am, and I got to choose the nonprofit partner, so I wanted to give you guys the money. That's basically what it comes down to.
Thank you. Thank you for using your platform and also using your life experience and sharing your story with us to do something big for an organization that is doing so much to give back to the trans expansive community. So we appreciate you being a community partner and you being a friend. So can you tell everybody one more time? And one thing, can I say that I like about this event is you have done your best to make it accessible for folks to get there. You say aquarium and you say St. Louis and you think about free events and events that are not free and who has access to them and who gets to see the beautiful things that our city has to offer. And this is a new beautiful thing that our city has to offer, and we're getting a first glimpse at that. So that's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Cool. Cheers, y'all.
That's Max, everybody. Give Max a hand. So that's going on. You can RSVP through Yelp, like Max told us. So get on, find out a little bit more about that information, that event. It's on the 15th, and we're all truly excited about it. And it's just another way to raise awareness and raise funds and do what we can for our city and for the trans expansive community. So y'all, I want to talk to you a little bit more about MTUG. So we talked about the emotional support groups that MTUG houses. That's a big deal to be able to go somewhere and get emotional support from a peer-led group. These are people who can talk to you, who think like you, who share the same life experiences that you do, and they provide a safer space. And I say safer space. I watch my terminology because I believe that no space is completely safe. But we've created a safer space for trans expansive folks throughout the St. Louis area with our headquarters. So we talked a little bit about our support groups that we have. We have FemSpec, we have Locker Room, we have Expression Spectrum, we have Soothe, we have my support group QT-POC STL that I'm going to get a little bit more into. We also host Song Squad, and there's a book club for those of you bookworms who like to read. I like audiobooks, but that's a different story. And also, an amazing thing that MTUG has taken part of is having the nation's first ever trans memorial garden. There's only one of them, and it's not here in the United States. And so a couple of years ago, we got our shovels and our hose, and we dug into the ground, which was very hard and full of rocks, and we created a sacred space for the trans expansive community to come together to love and also to mourn the folks that have left us. So that's a big part that MTUG plays in the community. Outside of that, they have every year a big, fat, trans queer prom. We acknowledge that everybody has not always been able to be their authentic self. And authentic means just whoever you are and how you want to represent. And MTUG creates events and spaces for folks to come and do that. And one of those is an adult prom. So if you didn't get a chance to go to your prom, you have a chance to go to a prom. We have dances, we have potlucks, and we have an art show that's amazing that's put on by one of our amazing members, Alex John Meyer, who you'll be seeing a little bit later, that focuses on art from the trans expansive community. So you're able to come and see your community and the beautiful art that they're able to create and share with us. I talked a little bit about my support group, QTPOC STL, and I'm just a co-facilitator, but QTPOC stands for Queer and Trans People of Color St. Louis. MTUG gave us a space to go when St. Louis was going through it after the killing of Mike Brown in Ferguson. We had a lot of Ferguson frontliners who identified as QTPOC, Queer and Trans People of Color, and we needed a place to go and to talk about our feelings. And MTUG gave us that space. This organization is really important to me because they're taking a leadership role and they're acknowledging their history. MTUG is an organization that was created for trans folks by trans folks. And when it started, it was a predominantly white, if not all white organization. MTUG realizes the power that they harness, and therefore they realize that it is their duty to play a huge part in St. Louis and in the trans expansive community by dismantling the system of white supremacy that holds us down and perpetuates a bunch of evil shit. Yes, I said it. So they are taking a leadership role and they are promoting terms that I think people use, but they throw away. They use them as catchphrases, terms like diversity and equity, inclusion, and they are taking their power and they are leveraging that and they're putting it back into the community. So one thing that I wanted to acknowledge yet again is that 10% of the proceeds that we raise from this telethon are going to be going back to the QT-Pop community in St. Louis. These are folks that know what their people need and they are making an active change through their lived experience to pull their family up from their bellies and support them. They know what our city needs. They know what our community needs. And MTUG is listening to them. They're listening to me as an accomplice, and for that, I am forever grateful. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the organizations that we were able to support with the last micro grant that came through. Cicadas and Cornflowers. It was led by Josh Barton, who you're also going to be seeing later, like an amazing trans woman of color. Is going to be doing a one-woman show for us. It was a writing workshop, and we were able to bring in other trans women of color and femme-centered people to work on their craft and perfect their craft and do what they love. They also helped the Sex Workers Outreach Project, which is really important. Like, we throw a lot of shade like as sex workers in our community, but they're members of our community and they're working members of our community and they deserve their freedom and their liberation, and MTUG supports that, and therefore we support them. Another shout out that I want to give to my family and that they were also able to use part of that microgrant is Flower Boy. That group does so much work for our city. They put on a summer camp for youth. And the main mission of Flower Boy is to create a brave space for masculine-centered people of color to embrace femininity and to decolonize masculinity. Now, I could go a lot into that. I could preach onto that, but there's also Google. So I just wanted to take the time to say thank you, decolonize our thoughts, decolonize our mind, decolonize the construct of gender. Google it. It's a lot of good information, but you can learn from us too. We'll come, we'll teach you. You can get us out for a tutorial. We do cultural competency training here at MTUG. So if you're interested, just write it and we'll talk to you about it. But again, Flower Boy, I love you. Thank you so much for creating another safer space for people to be their authentic selves and to do the work that they do and to work on unlearning the toxic things that our world has taught us. So thank you so much. Wow. So like I said before, we're at over $6,000 and that money is going to go to so many great things. So I just want to reiterate that we have those emotional support groups. We have our HQ that we continue to need to build and fund. We have open hours where we're meeting newer community members every day who are coming to us for support. They're coming to us for our food pantry and to use our washer and dryer and to use our shower and to just sit and talk in community and get resources. So these are all things that this money is going to go towards. So continue to donate. You can watch us on Facebook. If you're watching there now, you can watch us on YouTube, and you can watch us on Twitch. I know giving's hard. It can be really hard, but I think as a community, we can come together and we can reach this goal of $30,000, whether it's through 50 cents or $5 or $500. If you have it, every bit helps. And I don't say little bit because it's not a little bit. Every bit is a lot of bit. So give us a lot of bit and help us out here. So just come join us in community. We can also start watch parties if you haven't started those yet. I've seen a couple of going. Thank you so much for those of you all who are sitting together and watching us from wherever you are. Another thing you can do is share this on your social media with your friends, with your family. And a part of sharing is also starting crucial conversation about the trans expansive community and what we can do to help them and support them as allies and accomplices and just friends and family members. So thank you again. We're here at the wonderful 720 gallery space that they have given us this year. It's been so interesting to go from, I think, Pride Center our first year where we were hanging, piping with tape, to the KDHX studio, which was literally a radio station, to now this beautiful complex that they've given us. And I just want to take the time again to thank our amazing telethon team that comes together year after year. I have seen firsthand how talented our trans expansive community is, and without them we would not have been able to do this camera. I don't know anything about cameras. I don't know anything about wires. I don't know anything about Wi-Fi, but they're doing it. So thank you all so much. I love you. I'm blowing you kisses here if you can't see me. So yet again, thanks for tuning in and tagging along. If you're not familiar with the work that MTUG does, you can visit us at stlouismetrotrans.org and learn more about all of our support groups. We have a Facebook site as well. We now have open hours at our headquarters every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to 4. So you can come and visit us and talk to us and meet a friendly face and talk about things that you may need. So we have a lot coming up within this next hour. So welcome back. We're at the top of the hour. We're at over $6,000. We're rolling into the 3:00 hour. We have some other great things coming up, some more amazing interviews for you all. I just want to take the time to just thank MTUG for providing this space for a lot of folks to be seen and to be visible, and to just say, hey, we're here and we're doing the damn thing. A lot has happened in this past year to lift us up and show what we can do as a community. One of the great things that I was able to see this summer is our Pride and Gender-Free Expansive March. It was something that was put on with MTUG and the ACLU and Flower Boy and just so many other people, and we were able to walk in community and say hey, this is what we are, this is what we represent, and there is a space for everyone, and they've created a space for everyone in that trans expansive community. So I'm looking to see where we are right now. I know we have an interview coming up. With Squish is coming up. So something that's really cool is a lot of things evolve out of St. Louis. Y'all, we don't get enough credit for the work that we do here in the Midwest. We have a community member named Luca who has put together a support hotline for LGBTQIA folks. And from the time I have met Luca, I have seen them put in the work. Not only have they been recruiting people for this hotline, finding a space for this hotline, finding clinicians for this hotline, they've been doing crowd fundraising on their own, setting up fundraisers to raise money to support an amazing cause, which is just providing like more support that this community needs. So we have that coming up a little bit, in just a little bit. I think, how much time do we have? We have about 4 minutes. Or is a pre-recorded interview? Okay, all right, perfect. So I'm just going to talk for a little bit longer about some of the other work that the Metro Trans Umbrella Group does. Thank you. So, ways to support MTUG. For those of you who can, become a monthly sustainable donor. It's really awesome that we have this fundraiser and that we're doing this live right now on so many different social media platforms. But we do need monthly sustainable donors to be able to continue to do the work that we're doing. Like I said, I like to put numbers with things so you can understand where money is going. Like, we live in a capitalistic society. Sometimes it sucks, but it's how we get by. So $5 is a round trip bus fare for a support group. And we have 6 of those, like I said before, that support over 150 people a month. $15 pays for 1 hour of our transgender and non-binary staff time. We do have trans expansive folks who work with us and help our community, and we value a living wage here at MTUG. $30 will purchase 10 2-hour bus passes to hand out to participants. That's really crucial with these open hours. Like, public transportation is so key for so many people, and we have people who not only need to get to our support groups, but they are looking for jobs, they are looking for housing, they are trying to meet those basic needs, and getting around helps that. $40 will purchase a binder for a trans masculine human. It's very important for us to be able to be comfortable in our skin and live as our authentic selves. And binders are a safe way for so many trans mass folks to do that. And a lot of people just don't have access to that because they can be expensive. $50 pays for 1 month of Wi-Fi for our HQ and all of our guests who come there to use it. And we use that Wi-Fi for everything from surfing the net to helping people put together resumes to find jobs. So yeah, we do that. $78 can pay for a monthly life-affirming bus pass for one person. $100 can give one of our emotional support groups a pizza party. Like, that's great. Like, feeding the community is so important. $130 pays a scholarship for trans expansive humans to get their name changed. We offer name change clinics. This is often the first step for so many people to gain that life-affirming, authentic step to being the person that they want to be. And not only will we do that, we will provide the scholarship, we will walk you through the process, we will help you with the paperwork. When we have a lawyer there, we will let you talk to the lawyer, and you have other people there to talk to you about that experience and what that was like for them. And last but not least, $740, y'all, will cover all of our house bills for 1 month. Like, houses are expensive. Adulting is expensive. But outside of that, I want to just turn it over to this next, thank you, to this next interview we have coming up. So Luca, they, them pronouns, co-founded the St. Louis Queer Plus Support Helpline using a $5,000 Civic Scholars Grant and their prior experience working on a sexual assault helpline and volunteering at the Trevor Project. That's amazing. The St. Louis Queer Support Helpline is a volunteer-run peer support helpline that provides free, confidential, and identity-affirming emotional support and resource referrals by and for the St. Louis LGBTQIA+ community. Like, all of those things are so important for us. Born and raised in Singapore, a highly homophobic and transphobic country, Luca hopes to be able to immigrate to the United States and to mobilize community members to build a resource that many of us wish we had. Thank you, Luca, so much for your work. I'm going to flip it over to that interview. Thank you so much for the work you've done for our city.